Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! This time, Plapper Mouse and brother-in-law's youngest child, 18 male, I will call him the entitled Apple Kid, as apparently the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The kid is going to start college in September, if everything goes well. As some Redditors might know, I have a college fund for some people in the family, the kid included. They have strict stipulations and it only covers books and tuition. No extracurriculars, housing, or living expenses. They want to go and live someplace else? Fine. On your own dime, that is. At the start of this whole drama, my eldest child had finished college. The second is set on graduating this year, and the two middle ones are busy with college. The entitled kid is the last one. With all that happened, the entitled kid reared his head from time to time with offhand remarks and in the beginning demands for money. We made it very clear, in words and on paper, that if he continued with this or did other things that were by law not allowed, he could wave his funds goodbye. Happy and I operated on the notion of a child shall not suffer for its parents' blatant stupidity. If they decide to be stupid themselves, they shall reap what they sow. Plapper Mouse and brother-in-law have had some stern talks with the entitled kid to keep his head down into his studies so he could get his things paid for. They have always known we would never just hand over the money but give the information, confirm it, and pay for it. Still, they didn't complain about that free money. About the incident, we have instructed our eldest to not escalate situations, call us or law enforcement and seek out other adults if needed and possible in case of conflict. Filming whatever he could was something he already had figured out. Well, the entitled kid and our eldest met by chance a couple of days ago while my eldest and his siblings went out together. The eldest just gave him a hello and turned to walk away. The kid didn't like seeing him or whatever and started to shout and curse at him, preventing him from leaving. My two youngest heard the commotion and ran to their brother's aid. The youngest started filming. The entitled kid kept pushing his chest against the eldest and complimented my son. He never hurt him and he stayed calm. When the entitled kid grabbed his shirt, he used some of his skills in self-defense to make sure the entitled kid let him go, but nothing else. My middle child then said something to the entitled kid. Is it a family trait to want to go to jail or something? If you hurt him, you will go there. You might see your mother again. The entitled kid stopped, looked at them all, and ran for it. Kids got home, showed me the footage along with the witnesses' footage and contact details, and we made a trip to the police station to file a report. Then we called our lovely lawyer friend to set things in motion for a restraining order or whatever is possible. After all that, we made a copy of the footage my children made and a police report and sent it to brother-in-law. Attached to it was a note that another student thanked them for their donation of a college fund and the entitled kid decided he can do without. He threw away his chance with his own actions. According to the eldest niece, their parents were not happy. Not happy at all. So, a few decades back, I was involved with a group of guys with a little money, and we wanted something substantial to invest in. We decided to buy a restaurant franchise. I will not even say what kind, as that could identify me. Well, everything was going along swimmingly until my partners backed out. I unfortunately was the face of the group and my signature was on the bottom line, so I got stuck with running the business. It soon became apparent that there were a lot of inconsistencies. The big number one was that the sales in the prospectus were nowhere near what was being generated. Then there were other things, customers calling for their regular order. Well, it turned out that my particular franchise had been used for the past several years to deal grass and various drugs. The former manager had made some serious coin and was not happy that I had purchased his place. Well, life is not fun when you have just sunk six figures, and the likelihood is that you have flushed it down the toilet. However, I was not going to be trifled with. First, I called the accounting firm who signed off on a prospectus, and the partner in charge was taken aback. They had never signed off. I presented myself in their offices and spent the next few hours with them and their attorneys. Their name could not be associated with something fraudulent. Next, I wanted my money back, and the chief franchisor told me that they would immediately put mine up for sale, but the market was not quite as high as it was when I bought it, less than 3 months previously. Then a jerk had the audacity to demand that I paid up for my last order from the commissary. Something else to consider. I took the price list provided by the central commissary that we, as franchisees, were compelled to use. Buying fruits, vegetables, cheese, and meat from outside the system would be accompanied by fines from the franchisor. I marched myself back to the accounting firm and asked for a bit of analysis. Turns out commissary prices were from 10 to 300% higher than market. In other words, the franchisor was not interested in food. They were interested in turning around franchises. Well, that little report found its way into the hands of 20 local franchisees. Suddenly, the central commissary was not being used. The district manager starts showing up writing fines. Turns out the district manager is a guy who was supplying the manager of my franchise. I have him on discarded VHS security tape selling. So, I take the tapes to the accounting firm for secure storage. Then I go to the franchisor's offices. I lay it on the line. Then I have their district guy selling drugs in my restaurant. They laugh at me until I tell them that I'm the one who supplied the report to the rest of their franchisees. Oh, and by the way, we are starting an action against you. I then showed them that we had placed liens on a building they owned, their commissary, their homes, and their vehicles. I said I have enough to put you guys in jail. So these mental giants sit me down, write up a little release, and go get me a certified check for every dime I put into the franchise. I agree to the release. However, they do not realize that the gouging and the evidence is still in the hands of others. All they succeeded in doing was to get me off the list of owners suing them. Well, the case came to court, and who do you think was on the stand giving a complete rundown? One of them stood up in court and said, "Then didn't we pay you to shut up?" "No, you refunded me the money you stole." Now, they had 19 other guys taking them apart. I heard that one of the franchisors cried when they took his Porsche. His wife left him soon thereafter. In looking up this guy's information, he really was a jerk. A local paper described him as rewarded for privacy. These con artists are cutthroat and will do anything to get their money. They prey on unsuspecting victims and take out loans and falsify information. They take off with most of the money. The con artists are very skilled, and a few of them are ever sent to prison. Until my boyfriend came along. My boyfriend moved to NYC from a state in the South, freshly out of law school and riddled with student debt. He found a low-paying personal injury firm and settled in. Since money was tight, he found a roommate on Craigslist named Julie. Julie is a feisty Latina, and my boyfriend is pretty much Wonder Bread, but they hit it off very well. My boyfriend will go to Julie's job after work, she was a bartender, and they developed a very strong friendship. During this time, Julie meets a server, Luis. They hit it off and begin dating. My boyfriend clicks with Luis and they became a trio. Drunken tequila nights, being on a subway platform, my boyfriend being taken to Latina clubs, they become the best of friends. Something that will play a role in this tale is that both Julie and Luis and their families are in the USA undocumented. Please do not turn this into a political post. So Julie and Luis are getting serious but don't have a lot of money. So they move in with Luis' elderly parents. My boyfriend finds another place to live and they all still keep in touch. During all of this, Luis's dad had suffered an injury at work. He lost part of his finger and had hired a personal injury attorney. He lost part of his finger and had hired a personal injury attorney. Apparently, he was supposed to receive a $100K settlement, but some time had passed and still no update. Julie, since neither Louis nor his dad spoke English, called Louis' father's insurance and asked about the status of the settlement. The insurance said, "Oh, the settlement's already been paid out." And that's when Julie called my boyfriend, freaking out. Apparently, this personal injury attorney had a history of being an ambulance chaser and sought out clients here illegally. He held bad over them and took their settlement money by forging documents. While there have been reports the guy had been getting away with fraud for years. So my boyfriend tells Julie to tell that piece of crap that she knows what's up. Apparently, this guy thought his clients were too stupid to seek retribution. The attorney told Julie that he would return the money if she dropped her complaint against him. My boyfriend was livid that this attorney taken advantage of immigrants and decided to get paid back. He told Julie to record all of her conversations with him and keep records of any type of contact. Apparently, the attorney was using other embezzled funds to hush clients like Julie. Julie met up with him a few times, always recording interactions and getting money from him. With evidence in place, my boyfriend took all the evidence to the NYC Supreme Court, who investigated and told him that he was representing Louis's dad. Apparently, reports had happened for years, but nobody ever gave a damn until an attorney became involved. It turned out that piece of crap had stolen over $400,000 from clients for years. It was a long trial, with my boyfriend representing Louis' dad and he having to testify. The attorney knew my boyfriend had reported him and would glare at him from the stand. Long story short, this attorney pleaded guilty to charges of identity theft, fraud, grand larceny, and so on. He was stripped of his ability to practice law and was sentenced to 7 years in jail. Louis' dad gave my boyfriend $1,000. He worked pro bono for them. And now my boyfriend is a godfather to Julie and Louis's son. Louis's dad moved back to his native country and bought a beautiful house. All of this attorney's victims got their money back through the lawyer's fund for client protection. This story happened a while ago, but thought I'd still share. I live in a village with a lot of dogs, most of whom I like and will always give a tickle or treat to. However, there is one dog and two dog owners I never want to speak to, Rita and Tom, both fake names, mid-70s. They have had a golden Labrador named Birdie for the last 9 years, and I say this with no exaggeration, he is the worst trained dog I have ever met. To start with, he has zero recall training. They try to call him, but clearly it doesn't work. It also doesn't help that Tom is deaf and so can't hear if someone tells him to get Birdie back. He chases after every dog, if they want him to or not, extremely relevant for later on. Birdie is also not the friendliest dog, as he has growled and snarled at my dog, also highly relevant. I think that the two of them, being an elderly couple, maybe didn't realize how much energy Labradors have and how much training they need. Maybe couldn't keep up with what Birdie needed. Just a theory, but seems likely considering I've seen Tom get nearly dragged due to Birdie's excitement. Anyways, for context for the story, my dog Lola, 14, is a somewhat reactive dog. Important. She does not bite other dogs, just snaps at them so they get the message. She's gotten better around a lot of breeds, but is particularly wary of Labradors, most likely due to having to protect our other dog from a mean Labrador neighbor at our old house. While she is reactive, I do everything I can to avoid a messy situation. I put her on a leash immediately when we see a dog who she doesn't know or like, and try to distract her with a treat. And yes, before anyone says, we've tried training classes multiple times, but they didn't work, so I resort to these methods. Only when I think that the other dog will pound up to Lola and get in her face, do I ask that the owner either put their dog on a leash or distract them for the 30 seconds we pass one another. Most owners usually say it's fine and just do it, then let their dogs off when we've passed. But there are a small but stubborn subsection like Rita who refuse, claiming their dog has every right to basically bound where they like, and in doing so, aggravate my dog. This particular time I was in a field near Rita's house when I saw her and Purdy coming my way. I put Lola on a leash and hesitantly asked Rita if she could put Purdy on a leash because I knew he would run up to Lola and she might snap at him. Immediately her face looks like I've asked if I could kick her dog. She is shocked and horrified and starts complaining, saying that, "Oh, this is my field. My dog will roam wherever he wants." And that, "Your dog is only aggravated because she can feel your anxiety when she's forced on a leash. She'd be happier off the leash." At this point, I've had enough of Rita's bullcrap and her thinking she knows everything about my dog. So, I smile, I say, "Okay, then let's try that out." At this point, I let Lola off the leash. Immediately, the two dogs get into a fight. Both dogs are at blame here. They are both equally aggressive. And I pull Lola away and put her back on a leash. No dog is injured in this. I made sure to get Lola away fast enough that neither dog could hurt each other, while Rita did nothing. Rita scowled at me, then moved on quickly with Purdy. But now whenever we see each other, she diverts Purdy away from us, so problem solved. And she's never again questioned Lola's reactivity. I'm aware that may have been an a-hole move on my part, but honestly, I didn't care. We had had that same conversation far too many times that I needed to show her that some dogs simply do not like other dogs in their faces, and that Purdy was not the perfect angel she thought he was. To clarify, I knew if I let her off the leash, there wouldn't have been any physical harm done to either dog. Just a small fight, which would have hopefully put Purdy and Rita in their places. I work for an IT company as a contractor. The contractor part is important. Technically, I'm hourly, but everyone has always treated the job like salary. Some days I work 2 hours, some days I work 12. It just depends. I get 4 hours a week regardless. It was great until a recent change in middle management. My job is to place old machines, so I go to different state agencies. I copy data off the old machine and put it on a new one. The idea is that it works the same, but better. There is always small changes that people complain about. But hey, technology changes. Normally when things are slow, I'm on standby and fill in where I'm needed. Happens 2 or 3 times a week. With the recent changes, the new manager asked me to come work at the warehouse, where we send all the old devices. The first day I sorted laptop charges. Genuine busy work and a complete waste of my time. The second day I went, I sat for 4 hours. I finally said I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette and left. Never heard any feedback. So the malicious compliance part. They asked me to come back to the warehouse if I wanted hours. So I finally called him out. Nothing in my contract states that I'm required to come do warehouse work ever. In fact, it states that I am guaranteed 40 hours a week and also required to report to any relevant work. But it's clearly stated what my job is. So, I refused. The new manager threw a fit, but at the end of the day, there was nothing he could do. I know what my contract states, and I'm sticking to it. I told him if they wanted to rewrite the contract and pay me accordingly, I'd consider it. I still do my job, I do it well, my main boss respects me, but the new manager does not like me. We will see what the fallout is. Don't ask me to fill time with busy work that clearly falls outside my job description, especially when you won't pay me accordingly.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.